Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. And tonight we have got a very special show. You will see here. Here is Lady G, or Ganga, as I know her. And today we are going to be looking at Lady G's chart. Yeah, what makes this lady so special, and all of the dynamic things that she can do, her talents, gifts, etc. Now, what I'm going to say is this is going to be a little bit different because basically I've been having webcam issues. So I dropped one webcam on Saturday and it wouldn't focus and wouldn't autofocus. So what I did is I got another one, brand new today, and I've got the same problem. So there's something to do with my face and just, I don't know what it is, but it just goes blurry. Yeah. So I'm doing this off my phone. So that means if I want to see the chat, I literally have to physically scroll through. So I may not be able to click on or click up as many questions as I did before. So apologies for that, or as usual, apologies for that in advance. So we know that there's a midterm situation. Maybe we can have a little chit chat about the midterms after we have looked at Lady G's chart. So Lady G, I just want to ask you, what do you expect from tonight? What ideas do you have about what we may discover?
I have no idea. It'll be interesting to see what you have coming up.
Okay. Any other questions?
Lord only knows what it is, challenges or, opportunities or what have you.
All right. All right. So what we're going to do is we're just going to work around Lady G's chart sequentially. I'm literally just going to take it house by house. That should take us about 40 to 45 minutes. And then we should hopefully about have 15 minutes to kind of just talk about general kind of stuff, etc. Lady G, if you'd be able to help me, if you see some pertinent questions that come up, please drop them in and let me know. I'll introduce aspects of your chart and then I'll just get you to elaborate on various things. So I'm not talking too much and we hear more from you. Thank you as well to everyone joining us tonight. Right, let's begin. Yeah, as you know, I don't hang about and I like a bit of speed and pace. And actually, let me just move my camera a bit so we can see Lady G's first house clearly. Right. We're going to start with the first house. What's the first house? It represents you, the persona, the body, yeah? Our birth into this world. In Vedic astrology, the 12 houses of the zodiac, or the 12 houses rather, represent our physical birth into this world. First house is the body, but the top of the head. Second house, Taurus, relative, is from the eyebrows down to the neck, so on and so forth, until we're born. And what's the last thing that comes out is the feet, or the 12th house, relative to Pisces. Ganga's 12th house is extraordinary. Just so you guys know, it's very interesting. So, according to Vedic astrology, your rising sign, Ganga, is Sagittarius.
I had no idea.
Yeah, Sagittarius. Now, what is Sagittarius? Sagittarius, now this is a dead giveaway, particularly for people on YouTube and all of this kind of stuff, doing this stuff. Sagittarius is about what? Spirituality. Can do with organized religion, but it's more than that. It also deals with truth, politics. Like, for example, here, if I just look up here, it deals with higher learning, gurus and teachers, beliefs and politics, publishing and travels. Now, we all know that Lady G has traveled around a bit. The law and lawmakers, religion, fanaticism, spirituality and education, languages, and the father. So elaborate for us on how those themes of exploration, travel, and even the nakshatra mula, which I'll talk about, but tell us first about how those energies are pertinent to you.
Well, they definitely are, because I've written books. I've got about, there might be 6 books out altogether, and did the spiritual path. traveled around. I've been to Japan, India 5 years. So I do a lot of, and as you can tell, I'm in the van now. So I do a lot of traveling. And my whole thing started at a very young age looking at spirituality. So that was my main focus in life. Yeah.
You see, look at that. So as you guys know, I do Neo-Vedic astrology. So what am I talking about? Vedic astrology is a 5,000-year tradition, and it's part of the Indian tradition of like the Vedas and stuff, which of course Ganga will know. You have yoga, you have Ayurveda, and you have Jyotish. That's the other word for astrology, the science of light. Vedic astrology follows the movement of the stars. So if we look here with my projection, you can see, look, it's moving. That's like a projection of the Milky Way or galaxy. So the stars are constantly moving backwards in the sky.
Mm.
Western tropical astrology, because it doesn't take this movement into account, is 24 degrees ahead of the true placements of the stars. Yeah. So I just want you guys to understand that is the difference between the two disciplines. But there's more. It's not only that Ganga is Sagittarius rising, it's that the nakshatra that was also rising at the time that she was born is called Mula. Each nakshatra, there's 27 of them, they're star clusters, asterisms, which make up 3 constituent parts of each star sign, pretty much. Guess what Mula deals with? Mula means roots, but it means to tear up by the roots. Yeah, which you will recognize means to tear up by the roots. It means to tear up old things, plant new things. But there is a deity associated with each nakshatra. Pardon me, and the deity of Mula nakshatra is called Niriti, the goddess of destruction. But Niriti is also known as Kali. Could you mention for us how that might be significant for you?
Yeah. Well, on here you see I have Kali. There's Kali. I do have Kali. And one of my spiritual names is Kali Udamanandagiri, which means the bliss of being enlightened by Kali.
Amazing.
And my last name that I took is Karmakar, which means iron worker, and Kali's metal is iron.
There you go.
And when I lived in India, there was one sadhu. Every time I'd come, he'd run and shout, "Kali is coming!" And he would run every time he would see me because he knew I didn't mess around. I was just very straightforward with things. Yeah, so that's funny.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? Because we've only looked at your first house. Your first house. All I've done is read your ascendant and the nakshatra. And that has been so pertinent to a huge part of your life and your identity, because this is what Mula nakshatra means.
Yeah.
It is the energy of transformation. But Kali is a very special and a very intense energy. The legend of Kali is that she defeated the water buffalo that stole all the water from Earth. And she has a garland of skulls that she wears as a belt, around her neck as well. Garland of, destruction. And the thing is, once Kali gets going, she's hard to stop. But she's the destroyer of illusions. And this is why the early part of Sagittarius in particular is about truth. Yeah, truth. Enlightenment.
And the other one you had makes sense because when you go through realization, enlightenment, it's that destruction of ego. It tears out all the roots of all the baggage you've ever carried as if it never happened. So that makes sense too, that tearing out of that root, that dismantling that takes place.
Indeed. And that's what it means, actually. There is an axis in the sky, and we'll see when we get round to Lady G's 7th house, which is also quite spicy, I might add. Yeah. But this part of the sky, sidereal Sagittarius and sidereal Gemini, is one of the most tumultuous parts of the sky. It's very dramatic. People here tend to have a very deep, profound spirituality that's based on storms and uprooting. So this will recur as a theme. Right, let's move to your second house. So what's the second house all about? We look here, I'm just going to read this. Everyone's seen this sheet, but it's always worth saying. Second house deals with the face, the neck, the teeth, the voice, early childhood, food and diet, music, agriculture, farming, education, money, marriage and speech, singing, vision, the right eye in particular, self-values and family values, and education. So just hold that in mind, folks. Lady G has Venus here, planet of the arts, strong in the sign of Capricorn, which belongs to one of her friends, Saturn. When planets are in their own sign or the sign of a friend or even neutral, they are strong, but particularly own sign, friend sign, or exalted. So here, Venus is what? Planet of the arts of all kinds, but particularly when she's in the second house, because it also deals with the voice, it can also talk about singing, music, and education. So, Lady G, how's that pertinent and relevant to you?
Well, I do singing. I came from a family that was musicians. And so, yeah, that makes sense. And I'm always doing something artsy, always having to be involved with something like that. Absolutely.
It's remarkable, isn't it? Because Venus is the planet of the arts, naturally. She rules the sign of Taurus and Libra. Taurus is literally about arts, singing, sculpture, stuff like that. Libra is about arts, culture, literature, law, trades, goods, and services. So if Venus is in the second house of the voice, it can often make a singer. And I know that's one of the things that you do on your channel, but it also means music. Second house is family. So it means what? A musical family.
Exactly.
It's remarkable, isn't it?
Absolutely came from a musical family. My father, for those that don't know, recorded for Columbia Records, had radio shows. When I was young, they would come play at my school once in a while, and he'd call me up to sing. I was mortified when he would do that. And I sang on his radio show once. They had me sing Que Sera Sera. And I went to school and they say, "We heard you." And I was so embarrassed. I wanted to hide somewhere.
Wow. You see, I didn't know that, because I knew that Ganga liked to sing like from her channel, but I had no idea about that story. That is remarkable. And someone here is saying, Lady G, you are an inspiration. Let's see if I can click that up. Oh, good. My clicking up and clicking off still works. So there we are. Sometimes the mobile phone is better, you know. Sorry, I must confess it is. Right. Let's move on to your third house. Yeah. If we look here, you've got Jupiter in the, oh, and I forgot to say, forgive me, your Venus is in the nakshatra called Dhanishta. Dhanishta. So remember, each nakshatra has its own deities, its own story, but its own symbolism. Guess what? Dhanishta, the symbol for Dhanishta is the drum beat. And it means good timing. And it's also associated with dancing. How interesting. We saw the swirling magnificence a mere few weeks ago. Yeah. So if we look here, you've got Jupiter in the third house. Now, what's Jupiter? The Sanskrit name for Jupiter is Guru. Yeah. So everyone's Sanskrit name for Jupiter is Guru. So what's Guru? It means what? Learning, teaching, higher philosophy.
Weighty with knowledge is what it means. Yeah.
Say again, it means what with knowledge?
Weighty with knowledge, heavy knowledge. Right.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so here we've got Jupiter in the first house, also in Dhanishta, by the way, because they overlap a bit. So you've got two significant planets here, two of the gurus, because Jupiter is guru, Venus is guru. I mean, they're all gurus really, but these two are the main ones, both in Dhanishta. But there's more. You have Jupiter here in the sign of Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is a very multifaceted sign, often misunderstood. It has three rulers. It has got Saturn as the original ruler. It has got Uranus as the modern ruler. And it's also got Rahu, the north node of the moon, as ruler as well. Aquarius is multifaceted and a complex sign. Here, but you've got Guru here, and it's in the third house. What's the third house deal with? The third house deals with, I'll read it for you. There we go, this is the third house. Now, this will make you laugh, guys. So remember, you'll see, third house deals with hands, arms, upper lungs, and hearing. Deals with courage, the primary thoughts, thinking mind, life force, acquired skills. It deals with competition, siblings, sales, travel. We know Ganga, we know Lady G likes a bit of travel, and Jupiter is also the planet of travel. So is Mercury. It deals with writing. Third house is writing. Jupiter is what? Guru. We see how it tallies up. It deals with, can also deal with like short distance travel. It deals with self-made money, self-employment, sibling sales, the creative arts, all forms of communication, and entertainers of all kinds. Ting, 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 ting. Aquarius also deals with technology, social media. So obviously that describes you, but what else would you like to add on what I've just said?
Well, part of Guru, part of it was my spiritual journey, that I made the deal with spirit that whatever I got, I would give back. And that's what I did. I was one of the first people that was a guru online. And I went through a lot of difficulty because of it, being female and then doing a spiritual teachings and things online. And part of it being guru that come through was the fulfillment of a mantra. People have a half of a mantra, and then what came through here was another part of the mantra, and all the other spiritual practices have come through that I have given out to people.
Wow. Wow. Because Aquarius, literally, it deals with aviation, travel, technology, the sciences of all kinds, esoteric sciences as well. But primarily what it's about community. And one of the nicknames for Aquarius is other people's children. So it means to create a community of any kind. But because Aquarius is also what? Technology and innovation, pioneering.
And I have the online ashram that I work with people that had Kundalini awakenings. So I gave everything I could give. I also have the other channel, Guru Swami G, for those that don't know, that I gave all the spiritual things out for a long time. And when I gave out everything I could give, I mean, every subject basically, then I started coming and doing tarot, because this is my fun thing to do.
Right. So you see, the correlation is just extraordinary, isn't it? It's just extraordinary. There we can see it. There it is in black and white. Guru literally in Aquarius can mean what? Online guru, pioneering as an online guru. There it is, Jupiter in Aquarius, great compassion for the world as well. Now, if we look up here, when we look at your fourth house, now the fourth house is known as a moksha house. So the moksha houses are 4, 8, and 12, and this will become very significant. But also as well, the fourth house is equivalent not only to the mother, but also the emotions, real estate, but it's also the fourth chakra, the fourth chakra. And in here, you've got, here's one of Lady G's first stelliums. You have got Mercury, which is the mechanism of the mind.
Mhm.
The sun, which represents the kingdom we're building this lifetime. It can also represent the father. And you've also got here Rahu, which is innovation, new and exotic things. Now, what's really interesting is Rahu is a restless energy, restless. Mercury is technically debilitated in the sign of Pisces from 0 to 15 degrees. But it also means thinking outside of the box. And what have I written here? I've put here Mercury, Sun, and Rahu, which is the manifest destiny in Pisces in Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. Yeah. Back legs of the funeral cot. And I put here the restless empath that understands death. So could you tell the audience how does that theme of transformation, death, etc. play out in your life, or has played out?
Yeah, it has. Like I said, when I was in India, I did the 30-year path through Kundalini. I had the awakening when I was in the esoteric Christian order. And when I went to India, I sat down to meditate, doing my sitting by the Ganges, as I would do. And
Wow.
one night, all of a sudden, I knew I had done everything I could do. And all of a sudden, this great terror hit on me. And it was like being, the way I describe it is being in the, where there's this great big chasm and you're compelled to go forward. And you don't know, that fear is like, am I going to be possessed? Am I going to cease to exist entirely? And it's absolute terror. And at that moment, at that very moment, there's no thinking that you get to do. You can't sit and reason this out. It was on the altar of truth I lay myself. And so it's up to God whether I survive or I don't survive, whatever happens. And the next second, there was no me, no world, just that divine is, which is more real than anything one sees on this planet. And at that point, one comes out in a total transformation. All of the ideations that you had are blown out. That's why they call it being blown out. Nirvana, nirvikalpa, being blown out. And that's what happens. It blows out and one comes into a new consciousness, a new conscious awareness. So one has gone through basically a death.
A death?
A death, yeah, and come out in as a new creation, one could say. New consciousness.
You see why I love doing shows with this lady? We have had some conversations that are mind-blowing. This is just a little taste, because we'll go through the rest of the chart, and particularly when we get to your 8th house, this will make so much sense. But we can see here in this moksha house, this first moksha means liberation from this world, spiritual liberation.
Exactly what it was. When you sit down, you go through that terror, and all of a sudden you dismantle, the ego dismantles, and there is no you. It's like, I have never existed. The only thing that exists is that divine is.
You see, and that's remarkable. So that we could see really in many ways as well in what these planets represent, because the sun represents our divine spark that we all have. It's literally the spark of our soul. It deals with illumination. The sun is strong in the sign of Pisces because there are friendships between the planets. Sun, Moon, Mars, and Jupiter are all friends, and they do well in each other's signs, except Mars technically debilitates in the sign of Cancer, which belongs to his friend the Moon, but is delighted. Gives more problems with siblings, trust me. I know this one. Yeah. And then Saturn. Yeah, exactly. Indeed. So Saturn, Venus, and Mercury, they're all friends, and they do well in each other's signs. They're the planets of commerce, business, the realities here of Earth School. Venus technically debilitates in the sign of Virgo, but is delighted, but not as delighted as Mars. Not the end of the world. So here we see Mercury, which deals with the mechanism of the mind. The sun is the divine spark and the soul and the kingdom, and Rahu is exotic things, otherworldly. The nodes of the moon are otherworldly. So we can see this powerful combination that happened in your heart chakra, but also as well, all of them are in the nakshatra of Uttara Bhadrapada, which is about the death of the ego and the rebirth into a higher cosmic consciousness.
Moksha, liberation.
Moksha. Yeah, moksha.
But you know what you find out? The only thing you ever needed liberation from was the mind. Mind.
Mm-hmm. And Mercury represents the mechanism of the mind. So literally you're able to transcend the egoic mind. Moon is also egoic mind as well. We're going to skip the 5th house and go straight to the 6th. There's nothing in the 5th house. Doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just means it doesn't have emphasis. Planets in houses give emphasis. So look, 6th house. What's the 6th house about? This you're going to find very interesting. Now, the moon represents the mind overall, the comfort zones, the emotions, skills, and talents. How we get our needs met is also the moon. And I'm going to read for you 6th house. It's going to make you laugh, Ganga. All right, 6th house. Health and healing and overcoming obstacles. Yeah, deals with the stomach, digestion, deals with pets, divorce, lawsuits, debts, food and diet, accidents and thieves. You're probably thinking, oh my God, this doesn't sound good, but there's more. Enemies, challenging competition, police, and military. It also deals with pending karmas, therapies and routines of all kinds. Deals with service, yeah, service to the world, service to self, or service to others, really. Production lines and repetitive tasks of all kinds. It can also deal with Kundalini, day job, and health coach, yeah, diet coach, all of those kind of things, massage, hotels, restaurants, etc., stuff like that. And you have the moon here, strong, yeah. She in the nakshatra called Rohini. So I'm going to explain here. So what have I written? I put here moon in the 6th house. Deep appreciation of beauty, arts, culture, and well-crafted objects. Yeah, because remember, this is also what Taurus deals with. However, being too fond of food can be an issue here. Yeah, because the 6th house also deals the stomach. So have there ever been any issues with food or anything like that, of compulsion, or just where it might have been a bit unbalanced?
I like sweets. That would be the difficulty. Sweets. I do enjoy sweets. They don't enjoy me so much, but I do enjoy them.
Because guess what? I'll tell you something funny. The moon, there are 3 foodie planets. 3 foodie planets. Moon, Jupiter, and Venus. Venus is always food and drink, luxuries, cheese, crystal, you know, everything. So when the moon is in Taurus, she feels very happy there. But one of the Sanskrit names for Venus is Shukra, which literally means sugar. Literally means sugar. The moon loves all kinds of foods, but sweets in particular. When she's in the 6th house, it can deal with food and diet. But when she's in the sign of Taurus, the moon gets a very sweet tooth. How funny is that? So, you know, there's all sorts of stuff to do with, you know, all of that kind of thing. And Patricia Franzino has just written here. So Lady G has a great range in singing. Years ago, choir leader said she had a coloratura operatic voice. And to go to San Francisco Light Opera, she felt shy, saying here, no confidence. Oops, oh my God. Wanted to sing for pleasure. So there you are. So look, Patricia Franzino is coming in there with a bit of feedback. But isn't that remarkable? 6th house also deals with digestion and the stomach and stuff like that. Right. 7th house. How are we doing on time? Good. We're about halfway. Okay. 7th house. What does that mean? Some astrologers are a little bit frivolous if I may say, when it comes to the seventh house, because they always just go, oh, it's marriage. Yeah. Oh, it's relationships. Yes, but it's more than that. The seventh house is anyone that's not us, which means the outside world is also public name, fame, reputation, how we interact with the outside world, contracts and business, not only marriage partners, business partners. You have got Uranus here. Uranus is in the seventh house of Ganga, which is sudden shocks and surprises, liberation, unexpected things. But it's in the nakshatra called Ardra. Ardra is one of the most tumultuous nakshatras. It's also known as the teardrop. Ardra means tears, but it's also the gemstone. And it means to be cut and faceted by life until one shines. Deals with the deepest spiritual truths. Now, what I've written here is maverick and rebel in relationships. Yeah, so this can be you. And outside world, your relationship with the outside world. You were one of the first gurus online. Uranus is technology, co-ruler of Aquarius. Yeah, means to be pioneering, maverick, that energy. But also as well, I put here partner. Now, I don't know if this was true for you, but partners can be eccentric, rebels, or on the spectrum. Yeah, literally can deal with people that are on the spectrum. Yeah, or unpredictable. I've also put here divorce, quite likely. Yeah, needs freedom and autonomy in relationships. Tech and social media are part of public personas. So can you fill us in on some of the detail on that?
Yeah, I did not do well with marriage. Okay. I've been married a couple times, did not go well. It lasted less than a year. I'm, celibate. I don't date. I have not dated for many, many, many years. And so, yeah, had very difficult time with that type of relationship and stuff. Just did not work at all.
Funny that, isn't it?
Now,
I found,
yeah, they wanted to come back. My first one cheated on me. He comes back. I got pregnant, wanted a child. I got pregnant, had my son. My son is light skinned. My husband was very dark skinned. When he saw the child, said, "You cheated on me. This is not my child." Came back with another woman, and he's telling me that I'm a whore, I'm this, I'm that. I said, "Wait a minute, you're with my husband. I've never cheated on him, and you're calling me a whore." I said, "That's good. You two deserve each other. Go away." Then I was married a second time, and my husband, my daughter's Chinese, half Chinese. And same thing, he came over and he wanted me to go find him a job. I said, "I can't. You have to go and you have to apply yourself. I cannot go find you a job." So he said, "You just don't want to help me." And he wanted a divorce, gave him the divorce. Later, he found out that what I was saying was true. He wanted to come back. And I said, "No way." I don't think so. So, yeah, did not work out.
Very interesting, isn't it? Because you know what? One of the nicknames for Uranus is the planet of divorce. Kid you not? In 2016, when Uranus first entered sidereal Aries, now what you got to understand, in tropical astrology, they're 24 degrees ahead. They're saying that Uranus is in Taurus. It isn't. I'm sorry. In astronomical space, Uranus via transit is currently around about 22/23 degrees of sidereal Aries. There was something very significant that happened when the outer planets change sign. It's a big deal. And there was something very significant that happened in 2016 when Uranus moved into sidereal Aries. In 2016, we had Brexit. We divorced from what? The EU.
Ooh, yeah.
sudden shocks and the surprises, unexpected consequences. I mean, look. Britain has basically gone pear-shaped since then. But the point is, this is what Uranus can do. What is Uranus doesn't prevent marriage. However, for any person that has it significant, they will know when their marriage is over. And they say, see ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye. It's done. Yeah. So whenever Uranus is in the first house, yeah, or the seventh house, because they would aspect each other, this often can produce this result. I don't want everyone to worry like, oh my God, if I've got Uranus, will I ever get married? No, but Uranus is the planet of liberation, individuality, and freedom. Yeah. So I just
could have
share
never
that.
done my path if I had been married, stayed married. Absolutely not.
And I've seen it time and time again as well. Many of my clients that come to me when I read their chart and they're wondering, oh, why am I not married? Is because they've got either got Kuja dosha, which is where Mars aspects the seventh house. They need freedom, or they've got Uranus there. In order to really fulfill oneself on the spiritual path, often marriage is the sacrifice. So if you're very spiritual and you're single, do not beat yourself up. The universe has done that for a reason. And you've seen it here in Ganga's chart. Anyway, let's talk about your eighth house.
Many of these are left-handed blessings that you see later down the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Marriage is great if it works, but it can be a tremendous distraction. It's Venus. Compromise. Compromise. You have to balance out with the other person, making sure they get what they want and hopefully what you're getting what you want. But often that can be incompatible with the highest pathway. I'm not saying that if you're married that you can't be spiritual. That's not true. But those of us that are priests or priestesses, etc., like Ganga is, yeah, marriage is can often get in the way because the other partner wants something all the time. Yeah. You know, I'm not saying marriage is bad. Marriage is great, but it does hinder certain things. And anyone that's been married and divorced knows that to be true. All right. Eighth house. This is very interesting. So we come to the second moksha house, and you see Ganga's got Pluto here. Now this is deep, yeah, because she's got Pluto in the eighth house. But anyway, so what I put here, Pluto in the eighth, in the Cancer, the sign of Cancer in Aslesha. So I put here complicated relationship with the mother, yeah, but deep, deep transformational experiences. Turning lead into gold. It deals with magic, occult, and mysticism. Aslesha deals with things like that. It also deals with poison. However, poison in the right dose is medicine. So it's about kundalini, all of that stuff. So whatever you feel comfortable sharing, how has this theme of this intensity of transformation played out, and also with your mother?
Well, not only my mother, but my father as well. There was never any sort of recognition from them or, confirmation of anything good. It was, why were you born? We never wanted you, blah, 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 that type of thing. So I had no family life that was supportive. There was no support there, no love there. Never once did they say, I love you, you're my, no warmth, nothing ever. But it was, again, very left-handed blessing that it caused me to go deep and start doing my spiritual path at a young age because I had nothing there to tie to. There was nothing there to hold to as family situation. So in the end, again, it was a left-handed blessing that I would not have started my path and gone so deep into it if I had a family that you could go to for comfort or for advice or anything of that nature.
Yes, I just blocked someone that was just posting something about dating in the live chat.
Yes,
so if anyone saw that, they're now blocked. Fascinating. So I'm going to describe the eighth house. And that, thanks for sharing that, Ganga. So what's the eighth house? Doesn't mean all of this is true, but it does deal with lots of things. I call it the house of sex, death, and rock and roll. So it can deal with therapy and traumas, but transformation, wills, surrender, life insurance, addiction, psychology, metaphysics. Pardon me, it can deal with bankruptcy and taxes, corruption, but it can also deal with magnetism and charisma. It can deal even with a bit of murder, yeah? Conspiracy theories, near-death experiences, intense transformation. The eighth house is very intense. But it can also deal with alchemy, espionage, but it also deals with life force, astrology, money from others, can deal with blackmail as well, but also shamans.
Okay. Now, I will say something else with that. I did go through a lot of trauma as a child. And so, again, these were open doors when I challenged it later. So that was also there. I had a lot of, when I started out, I had a lot of PTSD. I was very depressed. I had been molested by an uncle. I had a lot of other traumas. I had been kidnapped. I had gone through rape. I had gone through a lot of things, a lot of trauma. But those things were open doors when I started looking deeper, and the one thing that really kind of opened the door was I saw that the people that perpetrated these traumas, they were perpetrating them and they were compelled to do it. And I was fortunate enough that I could be able to get out of it. And when I kept bringing these things up, I was traumatizing myself because these things had happened, but they're not happening at the moment. So you keep traumatizing yourself. So all of that I had gone through, I was to the point of I was getting a lot of piercings done. And then it hit me that it was the physical pain was easier to deal with than the emotional pain. And I go, well, that's stupid. That's not so, helping anything. But then when I saw that, the things that have been perpetrated on you by your family, what have you, that these were issues they had not handled in their life. And they were projecting them and using you as a target, but it really had nothing to do with you. So at that point, you can develop compassion for them and what's going on and can release these traumas that have been driving you into depression and all of these other things.
Wow. You see why I love this woman? Wasn't that so powerful as a message? The eighth house is the most intense house. It's a very difficult house. Pluto represents the eighth house on its own. Taboos, all of this kind of stuff. It's in the sign of Cancer, which is also about the family, not just the mother, but the family environment as well. So it's one of the most intense combinations that one can get. However, and it also deals with what? Hades, Pluto, abduction. Persephone was abducted by Pluto, taken into the underworld. But also as well, the eighth house, as difficult as it can be, when we lean into this energy, when we understand Pluto, when we integrate the shadow, it gives us X-Men powers. And it deals with transformation and transcendence, turning lead into gold. Go on.
Right. If you're going to be a teacher, if that's your life path, a guru, a teacher, you have to go through these things first because you cannot bring somebody else out if you do not have a map. This idea of being a wounded healer, if you can't find the way out for yourself, how are you going to find the way out for someone else? So, people say they want to be a teacher, they want to be a guru. They don't know what they're asking for because if that is your life path, you're going to have a lot of trauma and a lot of difficulty that you have to be able to traverse and go through it.
Such wisdom. Do you see? This is just, honestly, these are gemstones that you are sharing with the audience here. Gems of knowledge. Let me just hold up a symbolic representation of Ardra. Do you remember I was saying Ardra is the gemstone? Look at that, yeah? It's the crystal being cut and faceted by life. And it's almost like what Lady G Ganga is offering us now as these crystalline insights into the nature of the soul and transcendence itself. Incredible. You're an incredible woman, but I will continue. Amazing, amazing. Right. So here, ninth house. Now here you have Saturn in the ninth house in Leo. Yeah, now this is very interesting. Saturn is a shy planet. It's known as a shy planet. Saturn is also the illegitimate child of the sun. So the sun and Saturn are father and son. They have similar qualities, both deal with greatness. Now, what's interesting here is when Saturn is in the sign of Leo, Leo is lights, camera, action, leadership, standing out in the world and shining in some kind of way. But Saturn is karmas, and Saturn is also shy. He's the servant. When he's in Leo, he can feel uncomfortable. Many of my clients who have this, and I've actually got Saturn in Leo as well, believe it or not, different degree, but nonetheless there can sometimes be a feeling of feeling less than, imposter syndrome, or being shamed whenever one steps into the light and tries to shine in one's own right. Do you have some examples of how that may have happened to you in the past?
You know, I'm not one that usually goes out and wants to self-promote. I cannot self-promote. Yeah, not my thing. You know, we have a lot of people that promote their channels or promote this and promote that. And I did have when I was in India, I had somebody that worked, that wanted to promote me. And I said, no. I also had, this one was really funny. I had a soccer team in India that was winning, and they said it was because I had blessed them. And then I had these people trying to get a hold of me to bless them. So I said, no, that never happened. It's not me. I did not give them a, you know. So yeah, that's the way it works for me. You know, I do what I do, but I can't do self-promotion.
So now, isn't that fascinating? Because many of my clients often have this combination. Anyone who struggles to shine in the light because they were made to feel less than, or they just didn't feel they have the confidence or things like that, they could potentially have Saturn in Leo. But I tell you something else. Here, what this means, Leo means to be a leader. Yeah, means to stand up and in the light and shine. Saturn feels awkward and gangly. Yeah, it's like a dance class. Yeah, and he's moving in the wrong direction. You know, you got those people and they don't feel like they've got any rhythm. However, because Saturn is a humble planet and always wants to improve, he does have a perfectionist streak. Eventually, Saturn can become one of the best dancers out there. He goes from being the gonk, you know, the one who's uncoordinated, to becoming like a Janet Jackson or a Britney Spears. Yeah, so it's like really good. And there's interesting things. Often there will be a time, a moment of pressure where that will come along in a person's life where they have to step into that manifest destiny. Now, what's really interesting is that President Zelensky also has his Saturn in Leo. In the West, they don't see this because, of course, they're 24 degrees ahead. They're going to say it's in Virgo. It's not. When you take off the 24 degrees, it is Leo. What has happened? Putinska's attack on Ukraine has turned Zelensky into what? A king.
Yeah, he stepped up.
So to step up.
Yes.
Saturn, at some point, has to step up and take some kind of public stage when he's in Leo, whether he wants to or not. Mm-hmm. That's also true of you, where really you are what? A spiritual leader. Look, this is happening in your ninth house, which again deals with what? Gurus, teachers of all kinds. This is about going through the life of hard knocks. But look, the nakshatra is called, is Purva Falguni. Purva Falguni is ruled by Venus. Purva Falguni is is the one of the most creative nakshatras. It deals with performers of all kinds. Hmm. Yeah.
That's funny.
So isn't it interesting? So even though you are shy, you are modest, and you're reluctant to self-promote, that performer in you has to come out. No one is ever going to forget that spinning dervish gypsy dance that you did for the Halloween special. Yeah. Perva Falguni, folks. Madonna famously has this, but not just Madonna, lots of artists, creators, performers, people that end up having to be in front of the spotlight in some shape or form. I had to accept that I needed to do public stuff because my Rahu is in Perva Falguni. Even though I didn't want to, I used to be very shy as a child, believe it or not. People think, oh God, he never shuts up, but it's true. So anyway, there's that. 10th house.
There are a lot of performers that are like that, though. They before they go on stage, they're nervous and they're this and that, and they get out and you just do what's natural. But the, breaching and broaching that gap is another thing.
Exactly. And this is why there is an irony. A lot of like really good performers, like you say, Lady G, are shy. They're shy, but they might have Saturn in Leo because when they went to do it, they feel less than, or people tried to shame them or whatever, but somehow they get over it. And it's very powerful. It also means to be a leader, but this is also you leader as a guru as well. Saturn in the 9th house in Leo. So even though you're very modest, people do look up to you and respect you. And I'm sure that many people that watch this video will just love and respect you even more because they've had a chance to learn about these aspects in your life, if you know what I mean. So remarkable. Let's just see here. Lady G, so Mary Huddleston says, Lady G, your healing yourself has been a gift to the world. Bless you. Look at that. So take the praise, my dear. Right, 10th house. Look at this. All right, what's the 10th house? So here we've got Mars, K2, and Neptune together. Wow. Okay, in the sign of Virgo. Yeah. But it's in the 10th house. What's the 10th house? Public duties, career, presidents, reputation, bosses, fame, father's wealth, honors, vocation, purpose, status, government, authority figures, highest achievements. What have I written here in the 10th? I've put here magical hands and career as an intuitive healer. However, I put here as well, the brother could have health issues and sometimes pass away young, or in health and sports or police or military. Yeah. Now this is quite complicated energy. Neptune dissolves the boundaries between the three-dimensional world and the realms beyond. Planet of talent. K2 is moksha. Mars is passion. Virgo deals with health and healing and overcoming obstacles. So it means part of your public life is health and healing. How do you go about healing people?
Okay, well, part of it is the Kundalini journey, and I have done energetic healing. I don't do a lot of it now because it can awaken Kundalini in people, and something you don't want to do if they're not ready for it. But yeah, I can do energy healing and that type of thing. Now, I used to do energy work on my students, but then they weren't doing their practices. And I said, no, you're not just going to come lay down on the table and I release this stuff for you. You have to do the job, you have to do the work and things going forward. So, all of that stuff comes, the energetic things, the connections with the other side, it comes through, and that stuff happens as well. I just see it's part of the journey. That's all.
Because the 10th house also deals with our public dharma. It's part of our legacy that we give to, that we perform to the public in some way. And we can see here healer written all over it. And now, just in time, we're going to talk about your 12th house, because this is a humdinger, right? Oh. In your 12th house, you have Ceres, but which is the Roman name for Demeter, goddess of harvest. Demeter famously had who? Persephone. Yeah. So Ceres always represents matriarchy of all kinds: grandmother, mother, daughter, granddaughter energy, gaining something or losing something as well. But it's also about devotion. Here you've got Ceres together with Chiron, the wounded healer. Yeah. So, which of course deals with what? Transformation, healing wounds, medicine, all of that kind of stuff, where we've potentially received a wound in life. But there's more. Ceres and Chiron are in the nakshatra of Jyeshta, which is a very powerful part of Scorpio, which is about never giving up. Yeah, it means to have battles of all kinds and still keep coming through. Yeah, but there's more. These two are conjunct the star Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus is, pardon me, the 13th sign of the zodiac, forgotten by us in the West, but it was there. The ancient Greeks knew about it, and so did the ancient Egyptians. Ophiuchus sits at it sits between 26 to 27 degrees. So say 5 degrees, but particularly 3 degrees either side is a strong conjunction. You've got wounded healer and Ceres conjunct Ophiuchus, which represents the serpent priest or priestess. Means to do deep, intense, transformative spiritual work. Transcendent. The shadow of this is Donald Trump, yeah, because it's also the cult leader, yeah. Believe it or not, his moon is slap bang on Ophiuchus. This is why people can't work out. People are like, why is this a cult? This is why. But when people like Ganga use that energy for good, it can mean transcendental stuff. So what have I written here? Chiron and Ceres in Jyeshta conjunct Ophiuchus, the serpent priest, priestess. Deep, deep mystical knowledge. Yeah. It also deep, deep mystical knowledge used to heal self and others, turning venom into universal healing and wisdom. Yeah. The devotion of Demeter and the wisdom of Persephone combine with Chiron in the 12th house for transformational cosmic healing. 12th house also means distance, foreign land, travel. It means the land of far, far away. But there's more. You guys may notice that there's these pink lines here. Yeah. Lady G has what I refer to as a stargate in her chart. That's when a person has got planets in each of the moksha houses. 4, 8, and 12 means a very spiritual person. Yeah. So what are your thoughts when just to close, when I talk about the serpent priest, Kundalini, and all of that stuff showing in that way?
Yeah, that's been the path. Like I said, I went through the Kundalini journey. That was my whole focus on my whole life, and then giving back whatever I can give back to humanity. I also have another name, and I was brought into the, what do they call it? The Buddhist thing with the Kali chakras, the Kali chakra. Mm-hmm. And my name with that means one that gives all her benefit to humanity.
Ah!
Karma Sonam Wangmo is my Buddhist name. Karma Sonam Wangmo, she who gives all her benefit to humanity.
You see, folks, this is why I'm so passionate about this stuff, because it's real. It is real. We have gone through every house, and that has been bang on, really, hasn't it? Every aspect.
Absolutely. Wow. That was exactly my path, and that's what I continue to give back as well as I can give back. You know, whatever I've learned, I give back. Now, one thing that I give was one of my students. She works with first responders with drug treatment program and things. And so I gave her a way to reach them, which is to have them do a collage. And with that collage, you can see where they're hung up, what is going on with them. And a lot of times they'll think it's something they've dealt with, and they look, and then they can actually see it for themselves, and then they make their own treatment program going forward, which works instead of having somebody else make it for them.
Yes, very, very, very interesting. Someone says, I have Saturn, Leo conjunct my ascendant and moon, but in tropical. So what I would advise for you, Tamlin, is just, I mean, Western astrology still works, but take 24 degrees off all of your planets, or go onto a Vedic Astrology free chart calculator, and then you can see where those true placements are. Can you believe it? The hour has gone in a flash. Yeah, the hour has gone in a flash. I think that was absolutely not only fascinating, but brave as well. I think that took real courage. You really shared so deeply with everyone. So much love in the comments. I don't have time to literally put them all up because this is just so you know, so much praise. There were Judy Gulev. What incredible stuff. Learning so much. This is why I love collaborating with Ganga, because she has also helped increase my knowledge and understanding on many different things. I mean, I've got a Stargate as well, and I've got all this different kind of stuff going on. Quite a few of us on YouTube do, but that's not a requirement in order to go on a spiritual path. It's all about living your swadharma, your true path. That was amazing. Yeah, sorry, but final closing words to you, Lady G, before we sign off.
Yeah, you know, some of us are here and we came here to go through the difficult times and give back what we can give to help elevate humanity, to bring them through these difficult times. And everybody's got their own journey. Not everyone is ready for realization. And what I found, you know, when you come through this, you want everyone to get to realization and moksha, liberation. But most people, what I found, they just want to make their lives better. They're not ready for the total dismantling of ego. They just want some things they can hold to make their lives better where they're at. And that's fine too.
Very interesting. Sorry, go on. No? Oh, no, you finished that bit. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So what I need to do now, I'm doing this on my phone, Lady G, so I'm not quite sure how to end the broadcast, post layout, because there's a part where it says end, but I don't want that just to end the show, because obviously, you know, we would want to do post chat, but I think I might have to press end because I can't see anything else there. So if it ends, then it just ends. I just want to say to everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Lady G, for that incredible share, and also as well opening up and sharing those things, but also we can see how the nakshatras work, all of that kind of stuff. If any of you is interested in a consultation, whatever is my stuff will be in the description, yeah, in the video. But thank you again. That would have helped so many people, especially on the catch up when they watch this. And we'll have to talk about the midterms and stuff like that on Saturday. But frankly, this discussion was more important than that. So we will leave it there. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Harry, as well, for your donation, and anyone else that donated. And we will see you on Saturday. All right. Bye for now.
Bye.
All right. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Oh, it says end broadcast, not leave broadcast. What am I going to do? Let's see. Post comment, broadcast info. I think it's just going to have to be an end. Sorry, guys. All right. Bye-bye for now. See you next week, Lady G. Bye-bye. Cheers.